To begin the configuration of Pycharm, you need to open up the Pycharm application from your applications folder. So this is my applications folder and this is Pycharm. So I'm just going to click to launch Pycharm. So when you launch Pycharm for the first time after installation, you may get this message pop up. Just click open and that should begin the launch of Pycharm. So you may get this option that comes up asking you to import settings. If this is the first time you are setting up Pycharm, there will be nothing to import. So just click OK and it gives you this licensing agreement. Just click on the box that says I confirm that I have read and accept the terms of this user agreement. Once you've done that, click continue and you get this option here. If you want to send information, just click don't send. So you get this interface about the key map scheme and you have two options here. I've never used Pycharm before. I used Pycharm before, so I'll leave the default checked and just click next. You can click to skip if you wish to do so and just accept all the default settings. So I'm going to click next, and here it's talking about the UI theme. A theme basically is the background of the Pycharm. If you want a lighter background, this is how it will look. If you prefer a darker theme, which is checked on default, you can leave this darker theme, but you can always go back to change it later. It tells you where you can change it in the preferences, under appearance and behavior, and then in the appearance bit you can change the theme back if you want to switch. For now I'm going to accept the default theme and click next to launch script. Now basically it's asking you to create a launching script. Create a script for opening files and project. If you wish to do so, you can. If not, you can skip it. At this point, I'm going to click skip and accept, skip remaining and set the default, because from now on it's not really that much to do. You can always go back and change stuff later. So I'm going to click on that and that would begin the launch of Pycharm. So when you have this Pycharm screen launched, first thing you want to do is configure. So click on this configure button here, and under the configure there is an option for preferences. So click on preferences. Okay, and under preferences there's a lot of things you can do here. Again, if you want to change the theme, that's where you can change it. If you don't like the dark one, you want to go light, just click on the drop down and you have the option to change. There are different things you can also change here. Okay, so you just feel free to look through at your own convenience. But what I want to set up here is the interpreter. Interpreter is basically what we interpret all the code we write so that the computer can understand. So we need to set that up. So click on here where it's called project interpreter. Now there is an option. If you've used it before, it'll give you the options. If you click on the drop down, it will have the interpreter, but because we've just setting this up for the first time, we need to select where the interpreter is. So normally you can select this from the directory where Python was installed. So click on this option here and that will click add, and that will kind of like give you this option where you can browse to where Python was installed. So it's telling you here you can use the base interpreter, which is located in this location here, which is Python 3.7. Now this I want to use the base interpreter. If you've used Pycharm before, you can use the existing environment. Also here there are other options here. There is inherit, global and site packages. So if you want a package that you add to be inherited globally throughout your computer, you can do that. You can make available to all projects. I'm going to leave this option unchecked for now because I don't want to tie down to anything. You can always go back there later. Notice here we've got virtual env selected. If you want to create a virtual environment, so I'll leave that for now. Don't want to complicate things. So click on System Interpreter. So this is the interpreter I want the system to use. You can see the interpreter is selected is Python 3.7. I'm going to go with that. I'll click OK. All right, and you can see it's setting everything up. So now we've got the project interpreter. So anytime we are creating a project, it's going to interpret it using Python 3.7. And these are other stuff packages that is going to use as well. So once you're done, just click OK. So that's the interpreter setup. We'll wait for it to finish updating the Python interpreter. Once that has finished updating, it will then give you back the original screen where you'll have an option to create a new Python project. So I'll give this a few minutes to complete. So now that has completed, you back to the original screen here. Now we can go ahead and create a new project. So click on this button to create a new project. You have to give the project a name, and it tells you this is the location where the project is going to be stored. So I'm just going to remove the default name, which is untitled. I'll just call it Python course. All right, and project interpreter, click on this drop down here to select the interpreter I'm going to be using. I will be using this one here, existing interpreter, which is Python 3.7. That's the one I have checked. I'll click create. Okay, and that will create the new project. You will get this welcome screen. Feel free to read through. If not, just close. You get this each time you open Pycharm, unless you uncheck this option here not to show it. So click close, and here basically you've got the project that's been created. Next thing I want to do is create a Python file. So to do that, you just right click on this project that I created called Python course. Right click, go new, and there's an option for Python file. So create that. I'm just going to give it a name. I'll call it greeting, and it will save it with a .py extension because it's a Python file. So I'll click OK, and that will create the file. You can see it's created a file here called greeting.py, which is here. So I'm just going to type in a simple code here. I'm just going to say print, and inside that print parentheses, I'm going to just say hello world. I got a double P here. I need to get rid of one of the P's. All right, so that effectively is a complete Python statement. Just one line of code here to say hello world. So I'll save that. I just do Command and S. If you're on a window, you do Control and S. So now that has been saved. To run that, we've got a little play button here, but that play button is not activated the first time. To activate it, you need to run the file from here. So right click on the file that says greeting.py, and there's an option here that says run greeting. Okay, so click run, and you can see here this area here is called the console. All right, or the terminal. You can see it's outputted this line of code here inside the terminal. This area here is called the terminal or the console, where you can output the code that you run from within the editor. This area here also has the Python console. Python console is different from the terminal. The Python console is basically the Python shell. So if I click on this now, you can see the shell. This is the interactive shell. So if I say 2 + 2 and press enter, it will return 4 because this is an interactive Python shell. So I'm going to click on this X to close the console, and this area is the editor area. See, now that we've run the code the first time, anytime we want to run it again, we don't need to right click on this. We can just go here. You can see the file is highlighted here. If you have multiple files you want to run, you can click on the drop down and then select which one you want to run. At the moment, because we've already executed this file, it's showing up there. So if I want to run it again, I just click on the play button, and you can see here it displays here. Notice also here it tells me the path where this file is stored. So if I wanted to run this file outside of this integrated development environment inside Pycharm, I just go to this location here, grab this file, and then run it from my terminal. All right, so it's very important to know the location of the file. So this file here, greeting.py, is located in this location. So that is it for this video. In this video, we configured Pycharm. We also created and ran a Python file. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.